First, let me give you a breakdown of the mechanics that you'll need to get through the game. I'll start with the basics, and then we'll move on to the more advanced tricks that you're going to need for later levels. You'll have to translate this to the platform you're using, but on a PS5 controller, you can use X to jump, R2 to hold onto a wall, and square to dash a short distance in any direction. After using a dash, you'll notice that your hair turns blue. This is just an indicator that you've already used your dash since leaving the ground, and it won't refresh until the next time you land. If you use R2 to climb a wall, there's a couple very important things to note. First, your jumping trajectory changes dramatically depending on the direction you're pushing, and whether or not you're grabbing the wall. Second, the more you climb the wall, or jump while the grab button is held, the more stamina you drain, and eventually you'll start flashing red when you're about to lose your grip. If this happens, you'll slide down the wall whether you want to or not, so you have to be careful not to overuse it. Now that we've gotten a handle on the basic controls, let's take a look at some advanced techniques that are available right from the start. First, if you dash diagonally towards the ground and then jump upon making contact, you can boost yourself forward. This is handy both for increasing your speed getting through a room and for closing certain gaps that are otherwise hard to land. This technique doesn't become a necessity until very late in the game, but you can still get some use out of it beforehand if you know what to do, so give it a try. Next, if you dash parallel to a wall but you're within grabbing distance of it, you can use the jump button to get a big boost upward, far more than a usual wall jump would go. This is another technique that doesn't become necessary until late in the game, but there are multiple occasions where you can shorten a room or at least make it easier if you master this technique. I highly recommend getting used to this mechanic. Our next technique isn't necessary per se if you want to beat the game, but it allows you to jump up a wall without using the climb button, which preserves your stamina. This can make certain sections of the game significantly easier, and it allows you to bypass some obstacles altogether. However, getting used to this technique will probably take some practice because it isn't very intuitive. When you're jumping against a wall, you've probably noticed that Madeline pushes herself away from the wall if she isn't actively grabbing onto it, but she launches herself upward if the grab button is activated. However, if you're sliding against a wall, but don't have any directional buttons held, she doesn't push off in the way she normally does. This allows you to move yourself back to the wall and end up higher than you were before. So let's break this down step by step. First, you want to jump into the wall that you want to climb, but without using the grab button. At the moment that you make contact, make sure you're not pushing any directional buttons, then jump again. Now while you're in the air, you need to move back to the wall. Once you get there, release the directional button, and then jump again. With a little practice, you'll be able to get into a nice rhythm, and you should have no problem jumping up a single wall to get where you need to go. The last basic mechanic I'm going to show you is the spike jump. This one can be difficult to pull off, and it isn't strictly necessary unless you're going for the winged golden strawberry in 1A, so you can skip this part if you'd rather avoid the aggravation that entails. If you're still with me, it's possible to give yourself an extra boost if you jump into a corner that has spikes on it. All you have to do is hold down the grab button, jump directly into the corner, then jump again during the exact moment where you made contact with the wall. That sounds pretty easy, right? Well, no, actually. It's not easy at all. At least it wasn't for me. However, this technique is absolutely necessary if you plan on doing a dashless run of Chapter 1A, which I'll be posting a video of in the near future. Whether you want to do that or not is up to you, but you might also occasionally find some use for this technique elsewhere in the game if you can get good at landing it. That covers all of the base mechanics you can use in Celeste. There are other mechanics that will come up as we go through, but they'll be specific to the levels that we're in, and I'll make sure to explain them as they come up. Take some time to get used to these techniques, and then I'll see you in Chapter 1A.